If you're looking for live local music from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you came to the right place. Welcome to Hugh Shows.
We're all at the Hugh Show. It's a lot of fun. He's got all the answers. Yeah, he's got them written down. So let's all watch a Hugh Show till he gets to number one. Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Hugh Twyman, and I have been writing a music and photography blog in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for 16 years. Check me out at HughShows.com and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at HughShows. My musical guest for this edition of Hugh Show's Social Distance Television is Living with Monsters, a Pittsburgh-based indie rock band formed by longtime friends Bill Pierce and Corey Higgins. The band debuted in 2018 with their self-recorded, self-titled album and have been working to grow roots in the regional musical landscape since. They can be seen live out as an acoustic duo or as a full band, accompanied by Jake Workmeister on sax, Chris Stamlerakis on drums, and Justin Moore on bass. Would you all please welcome Bill, Corey, and Jake from Living with Monsters. What is up, fellas?
Hugh, what's going on, man? How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for having us on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. I had you on the blog several months ago, I believe, right? Oh, no. What happened was I had you on my Pittsburgh Current column, and unbeknownst to me, Pittsburgh Current stopped doing their print edition, so it was on their online digital editions, but it was real small, so I was like, I can't even read it, pretty much, so I'm gonna feature it on the blog soon, but I'm glad to have you here. How have you been dealing with pandemic life for the past couple months?
I mean, pretty good. I mean, I'm working from home. We're trying to play as much music as we can by ourselves. The whole 6 feet thing gets kind of tough every now and again, but yeah, I mean, keeping up, trying to have fun, trying to stay safe.
Yeah, so you're when I say your name, raise your hand. You're Bill.
Yo.
There's Bill. There's Corey. And there's Jake in the background. So, yeah, you said that you were going to add Jake today. I knew you were going to do a duo, and you were going to add Jake today as accompaniment. And I was, like, a little concerned, like, uh-oh, I'm going to have, like, you guys break the social distance thing for me. But you explained to me that you all work together anyway?
Yeah, we all work together, so we all have a background in construction. Our backgrounds, I guess, all in just whatever, but we happen to work in construction, and they turned that back on, I guess, May 1st. So we're intermingling during the day. We've gotten comfortable with the restrictions, the 6 feet. I think we measured it out. I think we're like 6 foot.
We had tape on the ground. Yeah, we're good.
Plus, just to be safe here, and we're all good.
Like do you all have families that you go home to?
We do.
Yes.
We do.
So if you're comfortable with like hanging out with each other and not bringing it home, you're cool with that?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. We like we said, we work together. I have 2 little boys, and Bill has 2 little boys. They're best friends in the world. So we kept them very very much apart for I think like the first 7 weeks, which wasn't fun for them. And we got them together for the first time this past weekend, and the moms are okay with it. We're okay with it. Everyone feels good about it. So we're trying to, take one step back at a time. But we're being responsible with it, Hugh. But we're trying to get a little bit of semblance of normal life back on the monster side of things because we're not used to being apart from each other very much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody is trying to find their own way, especially since we don't have any like structured guidance. We do in Pennsylvania, but little stir craziness will, bring out the worst in people's ability just to get out, and so I'm trying to be safe as well. But as long as you're still practicing social distance, I think that's what we're going to be doing, for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well.
Much as especially as somebody that goes to a bunch of live shows like you do, I'm sure it's
yeah.
disheartening, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, and I can only venture to guess. So it's just I don't even think about it. But I'm super happy not to be shaking hands with anybody anymore. It's like I thought that was overrated. But
So how about you? I mean, is someone who spends their time seeing live music, has it been a little weird taking a step back and having to hunker down and do things this way?
well, I've actually been slowing down on going out to see live music for a while. The last show I actually went to was in December anyway, and that's a show I put on. And I've done so many shows and so many, I do Deutschtown, and it's just overwhelming at times. So I've had my fair share of shows. Believe me, it's going to have to take a lot for me to get out to see a show anyway, and now especially now. So we'll see. It's a conscious decision that I made. I've seen thousands, literally over 1,000 shows. So it's not like I don't know what's going on, but
Right.
yeah, it's just it is what it is. It's a profound new normal. We're gonna hear 3 songs, and this is all from the debut album, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
All from the first album that came out. Let me say 2018.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's a long shell. It's a long time since between releases. We'll talk about stuff, but let's hear our first song. This is called "Outside Tonight," and why don't you take it away?
Sounds good. Thank you. Walking around outside tonight, it's so dark, and so bright. The leaves shake like whispering. The constant thought keeps me wondering. Just walking around outside tonight, it seems like I can't get right. That thought alone just makes me sick.
All right. That was Outside Tonight from the self-titled Living with Monsters album. Did you all grow up in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. So we're all South Hills guys, actually, right? Yeah. So Corey and I went to high school together. I'm a little older than him, as you can tell by the gray hair, probably. And then
I'm a little older than Bill.
Yeah, right. We picked up Snake along the way to add some musicianship to the band. So yeah, but all South Hills kids.
What high school?
Bethel Park for Corey and I.
Baldwin.
Okay, yeah. So South Hills, do you still live over that side of the city?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still South Hills people.
I mean, you can't take people across a river.
See, I'm not afraid of going through tunnels or going through rivers, much like everybody else. But yeah, that always seems to be we're not going out in the South Hills. Or God forbid we go to drive to the North Hills.
I'm actually out in.
Yeah, I float around pretty good. So
I'm in Highland Park. Guys, you can cross a river. It's not that bad.
Well, thank you.
Well, crossing a river isn't bad, but like relocating and living across the river, that seems to be like a difficult thing.
It's nice to go home too.
Yeah.
How about you, Hugh? Are you from Pittsburgh as well?
Yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I lived in Crafton, and now I live in the city because I teach in the city. But I haven't ventured out past the South and the West either. I've never lived anywhere, other than here, and it's just by choice because I married a girl from Carnegie, so we were just convenient for us and her parents at the time. But but I also noticed that I live right by Green Tree, so it's real convenient to everywhere. Like 10 minutes to go anywhere except South Hills Village. That's a pain in the ass.
Well, there's nowhere to get anywhere.
It's almost like they didn't want anybody to get to that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially Bethel.
Yeah.
You get 51 or 19.
I think that's
down. It's terrible.
I think that's a really Pittsburgh thing, though. Like we all kind of do stay close to our families here. I have 12 cousins on one side of my family. We're all still based. I think we have one cousin move out to Utah. It's like, what? That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of people who I know live and stay here. I have 5 siblings. They're all here, it's amazing. So you started making music together fairly recently. When did you begin as a band? In 2018?
Kind of the background was Bill and I, we grew up together, and we started playing the guitar together in high school, and that was just going to see shows together, playing music together, learning to play our favorite cover songs, and then Bill had moved away for a while, and I had moved away for a while, and we had reconvened back here, sometime in 2016, 2015, and Bill was starting a family, and I was starting a family, and times together were a little different than what we were used to. It was more like get the kids and our wives together, and once everyone showed out, we would sneak down to the basement and start picking up our guitars again. And it's maybe we should, instead of just playing the same old cover songs, maybe we should start writing something.
Right, yeah.
So him and I, we wrote all the music and recorded all the music for the first album ourselves, just in this garage actually. And then just really wanted to get something out there, just feel the accomplishment of recording original music and putting it out there. And then once we did that, it was well, man, let's go. So let's start playing this stuff live. And we needed to do that. We needed a band. So some people ask us oh man, when are we gonna hear some new music out? And we have a bunch of new songs that if anyone who hears us who's seen us live, they know that it's we're not just playing the music off the album, but the real focus over the last 2 years was procuring some musicians, trying to figure out guys that we vibe well with, and getting out there and cutting our teeth in the live music circuit. So
trying to figure it out
the same way we did recording and all that stuff. So we feel at this point it's we recorded an album, we've gone out and attracted some phenomenal local musicians, the likes of the guy like Jake and some other great guys we played with, even people who've already moved on from the band, but who played a lot of shows with us. And we kind of feel at this point it's we can go back to the table and start recording some of this music that we've been playing live, as well as some new stuff that people haven't heard yet. And we just didn't want to do the same thing again. We wanted to really earn our stripes, I guess, as musicians, and not just feel like two dads who are putting something out of their garage, I guess.
Awesome. So I could safely say that Jake, Chris, and Justin, they're the core of the band now. Is that?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Right
it.
on.
We're solidified, and we've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot of what not to do, and learned what we want to do, and that's been one thing that's nice about the quarantine is giving us a chance to kind of step back and reflect. Because this year for us, we were kind of like 2019 was our first like full year playing music. So we released the album in 2018 in December, and then from the get.
It was like January, February was the first show after that. It was like, all right, let's go ahead and figure it out who's actually going to play all these songs now. Because from the album standpoint, we went to Fiverr. I mean, we didn't know any drummers that could make drumming tracks. So we found some cat in Russia that was like, hey, yeah, send me your stems and we'll drum all your tracks. It's like, cool. And it's like, well, we need some bass guitar. It's like, well, I got a 16-key MIDI over here. And it's like, all right, let's use a marker and write what notes they are. It's like, what chord are you playing there? Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, we'll just do that on here. You know what I mean? It was really fun. I mean, at that time, it was, you got kids, so kids go to bed. It's like, all right, cool. Well, I'll come over at like 9 o'clock, and it's like 1:30 in the morning. It's like, all right, cool, we did a bunch of work tonight. Like, go home to your children. Like, I'm going to do the same, and like go to bed and do it every Tuesday or Thursday, I think, whatever day we ended up doing it. So it was cool to like figure it out, like, oh yeah, we can play music together for a long time. So if we can find somebody to do the drums and do a bass, track from a recording standpoint, then it was just a matter of, trying to network with enough people to find guys that were excited about trying to go play live. And that's what we wanted to do that whole last year. So people come and go, and you know how that community is in Pittsburgh as far as musicians go. So it's cool with who knows who and how many different sounds you can get in a band and how many times the same song can sound so many different ways just because of who's sitting in that night or something like that.
Right.
So it's been really cool.
Awesome. And Jake, you've been around for a while in Pittsburgh. Are there a bunch of bands that you could rattle off that you were in, or what's up?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I've been doing the past couple of years have been like national touring, like Dave Matthews tribute bands. Mm-hmm. So these guys were kind of doing like the acoustic Dave vibe kind of deal. I think that's how you guys found me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like Bill and I, like we grew up playing like acoustic guitar together, and then when we made the album, we started like putting some electric guitar in there and putting some lead parts in there and doing some things that like to build out these songs. So then when we got the live thing going, it was Bill and I playing guitar, and then we had two friends from high school playing drums and bass for us, and like it was great. It was great feel, but like neither Bill and I were comfortable enough like carrying lead parts through each song. Like some songs were coming together really nice, but like some songs were just like, man, we need another sound here. So I think our bass player at the time, Zach, was like, why don't we try like finding a horn player? And I think Brad Yoder, who's a local musician.
Well-known local musician.
Oh, yeah.
We met him at an acoustic open mic night, acoustic cafe at Mr. Small's.
Yeah.
That was like the first time we'd ever been there too, and he was part of the house band, and got to meet him, and then he played a show with us, I think like a week later or something like that. Actually, the first time meeting him, and since then it's been like, Jake's. I can't.
Well, I think
it's
like where we fell in love with the sound of sax in our music. Because like if you listen to our album, we don't have any saxophone. There's not a sax.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
So like,
it's missing something.
Yeah, we just kind of. Brad had played the first show with us. Not the first show, but the first show as a sax player, and we really liked the sound. And we even had another.
With Brad, we had Dale.
Dale
Mangold, yeah, is another local name, especially from the Hambones. Open mic.
And then Jake kind of came in. I think one of our buddies who was playing with us found his page on Facebook and was like, guys, like look at this kid, and reached out to him because, as you alluded to earlier, like if you found your core band, like one thing we were trying to just earn our stripes as musicians, and we were going to open mic nights and playing our songs and just trying to meet people who, like Bill said, was excited about it. So there were a handful of guys that have come out along the way and played with us, but more as like favors, more than like it's like, hey guys, we really like what you're doing, and we would love to come out and play what you can when we can. However, we can't commit to being a full-time member. So it was really fun meeting and getting to play with a lot of those guys. But obviously, like we wanted a cohesive family that we can just move on and just grind it out with, and I think that's what we got. So coming into this year, we're hoping to make some big moves.
Yeah.
You know, get
As
some,
soon as we can.
Yeah, as soon as you can. I think that's normal in Pittsburgh. There's so many great musicians, and there's so many opportunities to meet different people, and I see it all the time. So that's fantastic. We're gonna hear another song. This is called "Iron Words," and this is once again off at the debut. So if you wouldn't mind doing "Iron Words,"
Okay.
cool.
Your iron words, yeah, they cut me like a scalpel. Your iron words can kill or they can heal. Let us strong together, give you pain or give you pleasure. Let us strong together, ain't it funny how they make you feel? What's the weapons if you let them break me down or make me fall? What's the power when you make them help me rise over it all? Just a bunch of letters that weigh nothing at all. Just a bunch of words, weight of the world. You mix them all together, you can flavor them with poison. Yeah, piece them all together, you can flavor them with love. What's the weapons if you let them break me down or make me fall? What's the power when you make them help me rise over it all? Your iron words, yeah, they cut me like a scalpel. Let us strong together, ain't it funny how they make you feel?
like a scalpel. Yeah, they're stronger together. Ain't it funny how they make you feel?
And that was Iron Words off the self-titled debut from Living with Monsters. Before we get to the last song, what you alluded to it right before that song. Your plans for 2020 have been probably monkey wrench because of all this, but do you have songs that you're ready to record, or?
Yeah, from a recording standpoint, from things that aren't on track, I mean, we got 6 or 7 or
Even
8,
more than that. So
eight or
we had
9.
about, when we were ready to record your first album, we had about 20 songs ready to go. And like we had this, like, you know, we had always grown up listening to like our favorite artists, and like they would be in the days when tracks were leaked and all this stuff, and you were trying to get the inside scoop on a new album coming out. There was always this thing where you would hear songs leading up to the album that didn't make the album. These were like some of our favorite songs. We're like, what the heck? What is this? Like, why are they keeping it to a 10 or 12 track album? Like,
So
why
you
are
went
they
and saw
giving
them
us
live,
all
you know
the,
what I
all
mean?
the, you know. So our like thing was the first time I was like, man, let's like our first album out of the gate. Like, we have 20 songs here we really love. Like, let's put them all out and not hold anything off, because why would we do that? And then we learned the hard way of how much effort it takes and how many times you, like, it's like, man, like, the little things that you find inside of a recording that keeps you from putting it out. So, like, we basically had a second album written, and we played a lot of that music live. So we want to get some of that stuff out in a way that we're proud of, but we also have a bunch of new stuff
yeah.
that, like, no one's heard yet. And I guess to just, you know, finish that question off, our plan was for the year was to come out of the gate hot, playing live, and try to get all that stuff done as well. You know, we were really excited for all the local festivals, DeWitch Town and Millvale and the whole deal. And since all this happened, it was weird. Like, the first 4 weeks of quarantine, I told Bill I didn't even pick up my guitar. I was just like, I felt so like flatlined. I was like, man, we were ready to go. Like, what do we do now? And, you know, like, some of the guys were like, it's like, oh, we can maybe get together
It's
to
like,
record,
yeah, no, we
but
can't.
we can't get together
Yeah.
to record because we've got kids and families we're trying to protect. So we're just now kind of creeping out of the feeling. You know, we're back to work during the day, trying to get our night job back going.
Washing your hands a lot in the Kraken, so that's a pain in the butt, and trying to stay away from people without hugging them. So.
Right. Yeah, no high fives.
Fun.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Knuckles.
15 songs, right? Like, we could put 15 songs out today, Bill.
Yeah.
We could get the boys together
Let's
and
get
do
the
the
boys
work.
together. God. the band.
So you do record down in the room you're in now. Whose basement is this?
This is mine.
This is yours, Corey?
This is my basement. This is our
yeah.
humble garage. But yeah, we really, I mean, at this point with, you know, the recording equipment's available, you know, you could do it basically anywhere if you're trying to. But the first album we mainly did here and a little bit in Bill's house as well, just because that's where the kids were. But now boys are getting a little bit older. Justin and Chris, they have a storage unit in town that we're going to try to spend some
Down on
time
the south
there.
side, yeah.
And my wife, she likes to sleep a little bit more than I do, so sometime around like 1 o'clock, whenever there's still banging coming from the basement, she's like, all right, guys. Yeah.
Enough's enough.
Great.
Yeah, love you to death, but
Believe me, you have to keep the wife happy. She's like pissed off right now over my shoulder that I'm interrupting her show to do this. But we're going to hear one more song, and this is called Jatun. I'm taking liberties. What's the pronunciation?
I mean, that sounded about as perfect as you can get. Call it Joe Tune. It's something so stupid. There's a movie on Netflix called The Ritual, and it's of Norse mythology. It's spirit of the woods, and I dug the movie a lot. I watched it, and I don't know, it was kind of like one of the first things we ended up recording it, and it's like, what are you going to name this? It's like, that kind of sounds spooky, so let's name it that.
So the 2 dots above the O, is that, I always call it an ampersand, but no, it's,
That's
ampersand's the @Gmail thing, but what's the 2 dots above it?
it's like an ool or something, isn't it? Like
Yeah, an ool, yeah.
An ool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong.
No, I think you're
I'm
right.
in the ballpark, right?
Yeah, because I have a band,
Ooh-ah.
and it's called Yaver
Ooh-ah.
Blue, and the 2 O's at the end have the ool.
Umlau. That's what it is.
Umlau.
Wow.
So the funny
Cool.
thing about this song, real quick, I mean, I got like this was the second song, the second single we released, and like the first one, it was we were happy with it, we liked the song, but we were really trying to figure out the recording process. So this song, I was away for the week, and Bill was like, hey, we had just got this new electric drum set. He's like, can I come over? Go over to the studio, which we like to refer to, and mess around on this drum set type of thing. So he does, and he sends me this recording of like a drum track and a guitar and this and vocal track, and I'm listening. I'm like, man, this is incredible. Like I was actually floored. I was coming back. I was on an airplane. I'm like, this is my buddy recording in my basement. So we came back and we produced the song out, and he didn't write any lyrics. He just freestyled it like Drake in the garage. He just made up some random stuff that sounded really cool. So we wrote all the lyrics.
We wrote
down,
all the words down. It's like, what'd you say?
Yeah. And we're like, hey man, like let's record these vocal tracks now proper. And he sang it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, 5 or 6 times.
And we would show him to people who were like listening to what we were doing, and no one liked it as much as his original track.
Yeah,
that
I
he
like
did.
it. It's
Just
like, no, let's listen to the freestyle original one.
Yeah.
It was funny because when somebody's mixing and mastering all your stuff, right, that you don't know, that's on the West Coast, like it costs money to send these things back and forth and change them. And after doing it like 6 times, like a week before we finally hit submit, it's like, you know what, bud, let's get weird and let's just go back to the original recording. Like let's scrap all of this stuff that we just did.
Yeah.
All of the worrying about it and go back to the original. So yeah, that's what we ended up doing.
So the original.
The track recording on Joe Tune is the vocal track, is the first time that song has ever been played. Like those words they weren't written down. You know what
So
I mean?
it was almost improv freestyle, but eventually you had
write
to.
a lot like that too, though.
Yeah,
that's
but
something like we'll create a loop from a musical standpoint, and then play that so many bars over, and then listen to that back and try to find a cadence of a word or something like that, and see what's kind of coming off the top of the head, and listen to that again, and see if we want to rewrite words for it, or do we want to take what we have and kind of expand off of that, or what have you.
Cool. So we're going to hear Jotun, Jotun, however you want to pronounce it. So here is Jotun.
Outside on my own in the cold and dark, trying to hunt these creatures, they have no idea what they are. Big teeth and fangs in the dark in the moonlight. Got my gun on my hip, I know everything's gonna be alright. Walking down the trail to the riverside, spot some bear, don't turn around, and sure as hell don't hide. Walking to them like I don't mind if I die. These trees, they stare, they sort of roll around us now. I don't know how to hide. look at the ground and it's out of sight. It says it's on floating in the ground tonight. Left and right these stars, no one inside. I don't know, only know I don't wanna come down tonight. No, I don't wanna come down
All right. That was Joe Toon off the debut album. I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. I want to know your web presence. What's your main website?
So we couldn't get livingwithmonsters.com because apparently some other creeps had that. So we had to get living
W, yeah.
monsters.
You know, I own livingwithmonsters.com.
Dude.
So yeah, I'll give it to you for 10 grand.
What a fellow creep. I love it. Phew.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
In 3 years, I'm going to give you a hug when all
Yeah,
this is over.
So it's livingwmonsters.com. We can find you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, and even on Amazon. Is there any one of those you prefer?
No, wherever you guys consume music. So Spotify, Apple, Tidal, whatever it is. Go spin the album. Go check us out. Facebook, Instagram, like you said.
Right on.
Be appreciative.
My pleasure for having you. This is great. Bill, Corey, and Jake, thank you so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Hugh.
thanks to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you all for tuning in. I want to take you to HughShows.com for all your Pittsburgh music needs. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at HughShows. And please always remember, don't ever forget to hashtag support Pittsburgh music. And I will see everyone soon. Thanks.
We have a way of explaining things to Hugh. Yeah, we have a way of explaining things to Hugh. Yeah, we have a way of explaining things to Hugh.